camera angle looked at everyone present. Alright, time to get this show going, he called to the crowd. Soon as we get this done, You sound as though you're ready for this, bro, Rose told him. Camera grinned. You kidding? This is the opportunity of a lifetime. I'm not letting this one slide by. Places, everyone! The various actors moved to their places on the set, ignoring the bright spotlights and various other bits that marked this production. A woman with a slate called out Scene 1, Take 1, and slapped the arm down. The rap of broad sounding out and echoing throughout the cavernous room as the actors began their movements on the microcosmic stage. For Sunset's part, she was pretending to be a socialite, doling out nothing more than banter, light talk, with the exaggerated emotions of an age nearly a century ago. Out of the corner of her eyes, you could see Simmer doing it. Sunset had to admit, she was a natural at it. Did her twin have acting abilities that Sunset herself did not? That would be really cool, all things considered. Or was this just a normal part of life that she led? Sunset herself had that life for many years, but time spent away from candlelight had made her rusty, all things considered. Besides, now in hindsight, she realized it was the lifestyle that had been toxic to her nature, and turned her to a person she hated now. Still, for a time, it was good to be 10. But how she went a way for her to learn how to navigate this lifestyle as herself, as she was now, rather than have to sink back into the sort of pony she had been back then. Thought it for your thoughts, dear? Rarity asked her. Just thinking about bad times, and how much they ruined my life, Sunset whispered back. Surely you're false in it now, though. No need to think about the past. True, no argument about that. But sometimes I just wondered how my life would have been if... Never mind. As he listened in the distance, he could hear the order for the dancers to come out. Sunset had not seen how they had looked yet, wondered exactly how that would play out. My word! A man, clearly too much to his role, said, looking with feigned shock. Clearly a method actor, hamming it up a tad, as they were told they weren't supposed to notice the dancers until the stage direction had come. Sure enough, a second later, a call came out, and the rest of them would look with gazes of surprise and wondered at the futuristic creatures that came into their midst. Sunset fixed it forward with her jaw of surprise at what was seen before her. The creatures before her were visions of retrofuturistic sexiness and scintillating beauty. Recollections for the golden age of laser and neon. Several girls, standing there in big hair and tight silvery short shorts and tube tops, all followed their leader, Midnight Moondust, as he was in a golden variation of the same. He began singing, on his lip singing, and taunting those dressed in the garments of the past, as the girls all briefly did a dance number while perfect movement. Sunset was, admittedly, impressed. For the short couple of hours the girls had practiced, not only did they nail the number down, but they did it in perfect synchronization, which was a testament to their individual skills. All of them were perfect visions of feminine wiles, and the brief smoldering bedroom eyes that Bonbon had flashed Lyra. Sunset knew that those two would be doing actual sleeping tomorrow while on the plane instead of tonight. And then Pinkie came out, dressed similar, but also wearing streamers of neon colors that trailed behind her, like blurs of laser light, electronic beams that flickered as to where she had been, but not where she would go. She approached one of the guards and took his hats, laughing gaily and tossing it to the green replica statues, which would actually be digitally given the marble coloring in post-production, before moving on and bumping her butt, in her 80s-style Walkman, into the side of the second guard, knocking him over. She then soared off, an invite to give chase. Sunset had seen Pinkie's dancing skills before, and she knew that her friend was capable of. From the mundane to the cheerleading to the objectively seductive, Pinkie was possessed of both brains and skill, and was far more than what people would give her credit for. And today, she showed yet another facet of herself that none had seen before. Consummate dancer, moving with skill and practice ease that no one had known she could do. For a girl born well more than a decade after the dance style she was performing, she gyrated, shimmied, and swayed as she had been there during the Halcon days of living in oblivion. It was hypnotic, and for the second time that night, Sunset found herself musing that bit of inclination. Pinkie would be a perfect match for her. Certainly the younger girl was interested, even if Sunset herself wasn't. And that kind of thinking could be dangerous. Still, Sunset let her think about it, if for no other reason than the fact that Pinkie had presented herself, moving past her own fears, worries, and trauma to admit how she felt about the Alicorn. It made Sunset wonder if there had ever been pony-human pairings, and there were her suspicions about Octavia's ancestor. and the truth that meant both herself and Raspberry weren't the only ones of equestrian blood on this world. But that had been so long ago. If the raven-haired girl truly had a pony as an ancestor, the bloodline would all be diluted now, with Octavia having only 1 or 2 chromosomes left within her DNA, being more related to the average person on the street than any particular pony. Destined in heaven, I never thought I'd get my feet this far. Dancing in heaven, never thought I'd get my feet this far. Kick it out, slow, slow, quick, quick, slow, 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 quick, quick, slow. As for Pinkie, she was a girl in a one-way corridor, stealing through the world like an unburned toreador with wheels on her feet. She switched and shimmied, dancing around with the fake statues, moving effortlessly around her fellow dancers and guards, moving in perfect motion with the music being pumped through the headphones. An MP3 player built for the guts of an old 80s Walkman. No fears at night. She let herself sail through the crowd with headphones on so tight that the music playing loud. Part of her wanted to slide over to Sunset and apply her womanly wiles, as Pinkie knew she had the room's attention on her, and likely in more than one way. She could see the desire in several young maidens' gazes on her, at least one other girl, but she didn't care about that. Right now she performed an audience of one, and that audience was not whoever would ultimately watch this video. Pinkie was a girl in love with an alien goddess queen, one that had chosen to walk the earth as she did. Pinkie had fallen for her and didn't ever want to let that feeling go. This wasn't some bygone crush she had with Atlas before he had destroyed her, or some chemically induced realization of herself as she found when she realized she loved Cecily as well. Those 2 revelations had ruined her and brought her to a suicidal low, brought to its worth and ugliest worry when her hatred for Sunset had ended in an all-consuming desire to end herself. But she hadn't, and that hatred turned into an offer of friendship, and eventually morphed into pure, true love for the flame-haired girl, for the girl that wasn't a girl, but a woman in a girl's body, and that not even a mare, an alien female cast down into the world, into the life of Pinkie's own age, so that when she would renew herself, and in doing so save Pinkie from her worst enemy, ultimately, Pinkie herself. Pinkie didn't love Sunset because she didn't have a choice. Pinkie loved Sunset because Sunset had been the choice. Sunset's own changes had given Pinkie the will to live and move on from where there was no reason to do so, and eliminated her own life. For that reason alone, Pinkie would virtually enslave herself to Sunset's life. But Sunset wouldn't have had that enslavement, and only made Pinkie love the neophyte goddess that much more. So, Pinkie danced the procession of one, a cardinal worship towards the goddess she would forever love through never truly worship. Sunset didn't want worshippers anyway, and Pinkie didn't give that to her. Pinkie hoped that she would give Sunset so much more she had the chance. Meanwhile, behind the counter cute corner, a magenta tail twitched, ear flopped, and a heart syncopated, and warm feelings spread throughout Pinkie Pie like she had never felt before. She collapsed to the ground, dazed, but with a smile on her face, and she didn't know why. "Pinkie dear, are you okay?" asked Mrs. Cake said. I just had the strangest feeling, Mrs. Kink. I'm not sure why. Never had my Pinkie sense act like this before. Like what? Pinkie giggled. Somebody is so in love with somebody else that even Princess Kate is gonna done better. My thing is, I'm not sure who it is. Mrs. Cake just looked at the younger mare with a gaze of utter confusion, while Pinkie started rummaging through the Cake twins. What are you looking for, Pinkie? The wedding cake tins, Pinkie shared. I mean, whoever just brought it is clearly love their special sun pony so much that I'll bet they'll be in tomorrow to ask us to make the wedding cake. Doesn't hurt to be prepared, right? Mrs. Cake shook her head in amusement. As always, Pinkie danced to her own beat, and no mortal pony, maybe not even the Alicorns, knew what she was up to. But somehow Mrs. Cake didn't doubt that their baking apprentice was even remotely wrong. Besides, even in dark times like this, there still had to be a light. Right now, a younger baker and party planner looking towards the future as bright as it could be, hopefully. No sooner than 5 minutes later, a young stallion walked in. Mrs. Cake walked over to him and said, "You're just in time. Our baker's already studied your order." My order? The elder man nodded. "Yes, aren't you a charming young stallion, swept away by the feelings of a tender-hearted young mare?" Yes. Mrs. Cake smiled in satisfaction. "Then we'll have the wedding cake done to perfection, sir. Never you fear." Standing there with a look of confusion Lieutenant Define Wright didn't know how to respond. He'd been warned that Ponyville, even with everything that was going on, had an outgoing reputation of weirdness. He just discovered that oddness front and center. I guess I probably should look for a different place to have dinner tomorrow, he mused. Oh, that's an app, Cameron said a few hours later. I'm actually surprised too, he admitted with some astonishment. Yeah, no kidding, the cameraman commented. Usually these things, even the one-day productions, take forever. Never been on a production that was ahead of schedule before.
Well, I knew we were going to be done in time, Pinky said proudly. I have a date to go on tonight.
Carol looked at Pinky. Usually production doesn't care much about your personal schedules. From where she stood, Rainbow whispered to Rarity,
the production clearly hasn't realized that Pinky doesn't get two shits about what they want. It interferes with her date with Sunny.
Rarity giggled.
Crude, but also very true.
Meanwhile, Midnight walked over to where Sunset was.
Things went absolutely perfect today, and I can't thank you enough, she told Sunset. Drewski and her mother will have a moment to treasure always, and I could have done it without you and your friends. I mean that.
Sunset waved it off. Seriously, Mitch, I was just trying to do what was right. You needed help, and you're a friend, so of course I was going to do what I could.
You went above and beyond what I expected you could, Sonny.
Seriously, Mitch, don't mention it, Sunset said, starting to feel a little self-conscious about her friend's compliments.
Well, I'll make it up to you somehow, I swear.
Anyway, we're done, so go ahead and change back into your normal clothing. Don't forget to give me your address. Physical address, that is. Why?
So you can get paid, of course. Paid, but I didn't. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. Big says he approached with a real smile on his face. But you did more today to save this production than anyone expected. Honestly, once so real bounced out, I was going to freak out the cast, and resources we're invested in this would go out the window. But you saved us from that, and that deserves to be rewarded. Besides, everything else to deal with some extra cost savings due to a faster wrap-up, the money should go to a good cause, right? In any case, since you're a minor, we're going to have to mail a document to your parents so they can sign as well. But don't worry, you're going to get paid. I don't back down from promises like that. Sunset blushed. She hadn't expected this at all.
But I didn't. Just take it, Sonny.
Sunset tried to see Pinky approach her. A creature of excitability that filled her visions. Lightly covered in sheen and perspiration from her actions, somehow made Pinky look even more attractive and lovely. Pinky then went over and boldly put her arms around Sunset's neck.
So, how did I do?
Sunset blushed all the more. Pinky? Pinky sighed as he got well within Sunset's personal space.
Yes.
Sunset demurely moved away from Pinky, though not as fast as he would have preferred. Production's over. You can change back into your normal clothing now.
What? Don't like what you see?
A gaudy-haired girl asked quietly. When Sunset actually lost for words, Pinky grinned sultry.
I could get out of these just for you.
Sunset was now nearly as red as her hair. Pinky, go change, please! The cheerleader laughed and skated out towards the costume trailers. Standing a slight distance away, Octavia asked Twilight, "Are we sure Sunny's straight?" When Twilight glared at her cousin, Octavia just laughed and said, "You know I'm kidding. Yes, I know Pinky's coming on a lot strong here." "Maybe you should tell her to knock it off," Twilight told Sonata.
Nope, Twilight not gonna do that, Sonata told her. Look, I don't know why you're irritated by the possibility of them being together. And they are fine, and they aren't also fine. I also want them to both be happy, and so should you.
That's really profound, sis, Arya pointed out.
Sonata shrugged with an easy smile. I have my moments.
It was then that Raspberry approached Sunset.
Sonny, do you have a few seconds?
Sure, Ras. Why? A few minutes later, Sunset looked at the same drawing that had so profoundly affected her friend earlier. I'll look into this the first chance I get, Ras, I promise. I'm sure you don't want me to, but...
She sighed. If I'm gonna be stuck here on Earth for the rest of my life, I have to know. I need to know there's gonna be a tomorrow, and not just because you say so. No offense intended at all, but she didn't have you, and she really was what she says she was. Then she had a very sad life. I can't imagine being cut off from everything like you were, or she was. I just can't.
You're not, Ras. Believe me, you're not.
You have people who, I know, you said that a million times, and I know that. But until I know here, she pointed to her heart, instead of just here, she pointed to her head, I'm gonna have to keep trying to adjust. That's not your fault or mine or anyone's. It's just, well, you know how my personal life was before I met everyone in Ponyville. So it's a feeling that's never gone away. Believe me, I had the same problems when I was in Ponyville for quite some time. So it's nothing you did. Raz, Sunset held her hand out, so she fought to keep the look of hurt out of her face. She wanted to help her friend, but Raspberry was in much the same way she herself had been when she first arrived on Earth, alone, despite being surrounded. There was nothing Sunset could do except be there for her. Time would have to see the rest of her unicorn's wounds. A second later, Sunset felt soft hands wrapped around her eyes and voice cue. I'm all yours again! She tried to see Pinkie, having changed back to her normal clothing, but still having keeping her 80s makeup on, giving her a distinct blend of both the old and new. I guess I should go chase as well, shouldn't I? Sunset said, definitely moving away from Pinkie this time. Nope! Don't ever change. I love you just the way you are. Pinkie chirped and Sunset blushed again. Pinkie, stop, okay? You're making me blush. Then I'm doing my job right, she said with a saucy wink. Well, I'll be right back, Sunset said. Going to go change, and then we can look around the museum a bit before we join everyone for dinner. Apparently, Midge had a dinner catered for everyone, since they thought it was going to be for a very long shooting period. There's some other art I want to look at, so don't go anywhere. I'll be right here, waiting with bating breath, Pinkie assured her. Sunset walked off. Pinkie jumped up and down a small bit of triumph. Yes! As Sunset walked back to the wardrobe area, she ran to Midnight one last time. They're tearing down stuff right now, setting up dinner in a couple hours, she explained. So if you want to look at the exhibits, now's the time. A lot of the extras are going to do that as well before catering comes in. But I want to give you the heads up because I feel a bit bad about ruining your date with your girlfriend. Sunset said, Pinkie's not my... You two make a good couple, you know that? I don't say that often, but in this case, I really think you do. I don't think you understand, Midge. It's not like that. Midnight waved it off. So you don't protest too much, methinks. It's not like it was in the old days, Sunny. I mean, I'm not kind that way personally, but I know Rose is, and she's a pretty good friend. So it's not like I'm offended or anything. Sunset sighed. Why does everyone think Pinkie and I are dating? Because you're on a date? Midnight pointed out. Never mind. The Chorus human sighed. So he then explained everything going on with Pinkie, and the insistence that she take Sunset on a date, and Sunset reluctantly agreed. That date so far had been interrupted, while Sunset didn't mind in particular, she was concerned for Pinkie's sake, and that Pinkie was trying her utmost, give her feelings for Sunset, and that Sunset was trying not to encourage her while trying to let her down gently. After the clarification was done, Midnight looked at the flame-haired girl with a look of surprise. So you're doing this for her, even though you're not? She asked. When Sunset nodded, the singer looked at her with surprise. I'm lost for words. I don't think I have the courage to do what you're doing, especially with someone who's part of my classical friends. I'm genuinely impressed. I just don't want to hurt Pinkie's feelings, Sunset said. She's been hurt enough in the past, and I don't want to add to that. They used to be careful how you let her down, Midnight cautioned. Take it from a girl that gets proper positioned by both boys and girls on a regular basis. Sometimes you need to be firm, but other times you can just be kind. It's all in how they see you, and how you want to be seen. As if Pinkie is a friend of yours, you should know how to react. Ultimately, I just want her happy. I don't want to see her happy in that kind of way, if that makes sense. Well, only one way to find out, and you're doing that, right? Midnight winked. You'll be fine, Sunny. I know you will. Now go have some fun. As my sister says, you're only a teenager once in your life. Sunset couldn't help but smirk. Oh, I know at least one person who could prove you wrong on that. Given free rein in a museum, Sunset and Pinkie wander its halls, the two partaking in sights of a severely reduced crowd. Though quite a few actors also joined in viewings, the majority of them were the typical jaded Hollywood types, and spent their time either networking with each other, spoozing, or engaging in small talk, or trying to talk themselves up before the larger-than-life celebrities present, namely Midnight and Chocolate Twins. Surprisingly, quite a few of them had also noticed Fluttershy, and were now including her in that group. It was a testament to how much she had grown in a year that she didn't find herself hiding
but instead chatted calmly with the others with a minimum of handwriting. Neither Sunset nor Pinky noticed this, however, as they were engrossed wandering the halls, chatting about artwork and art styles, and the differences between Earth and Equus's various artists.
Personally, I think levitating art style is pointless, period. But yeah, he was well ahead of the curve when it came to cubism, though, and I don't think enough people give him credit.
Strangely enough, levitating art had a counterpart in Equestria, a Pegasus that was known for sky painting, moving clouds in here and there so it would affect the sun's rays wherever it's set. He had a serious influence on sky painters, but nowadays he's all but forgotten. Except for a few personal copies of renditions that were done in the place itself, his apprentice Skylily was an even bigger name than he was. Skylily wasn't an artist herself, but no patron of the arts. If I recall correctly, a lover of several of them. She's known for being a muse of several works, most famously nude on a London evening by Breast Feathers. Of course, there's also rumors of Breast Feathers being gay during a time when it was really frowned on. Was his lying by a concern with Skylily?
Well, the Breast Feathers from my world was a stallion lover, quite the opposite. He had so many affairs as to believe he practically drove his first wife, Roseguard, to her final flight.
The name Roseguard set off a pulse in Pinky's mind, but she pushed aside in that moment.
Final flight? What's that?
She asked. It was a ritualized form of suicide that used to be popular amongst Pegasus nobility. It dates back to Pegasopolis. Basically, you could fly as hard as fast as you could, away from public lands. Eventually, exhausted or oxygen deprivation would put you unconscious. You fall from the sky, no plane would find your body.
That's macabre.
That was the point. Without a body to bury, it brought shame upon the family, and in this case, Feathers. Of course, he didn't care. It's funny, though, because nowadays the tragedy of Roseguard is better known than any of Feathers' particular works. As for the practice, my mother banned it a few decades before I was born. She knew Roseguard, and from what I understand, took the mayor's death pretty hard.
What happened to Breast Feathers?
He went into seclusion for about 6 months before he started working on his next piece of art, a sculpture. It was rumored that his time of reflection was just more debauchery, and that he was smart enough to keep under the radar, but nobody really knows. Her stomach then growled. Speaking of debauchery, I guess we should go find where the food is, right?
Pinky shook her head. Nuh-uh.
She chirped. Why not?
Because I got a recipe for the crayons.
Cecil smiled.
Just asked if I wanted anything, and I said I wanted to make tonight special, and asked if there was a place where we could go that could be special. So he called us a favor, so we have recipes this an hour, so we really should get going.
Do you know where this place is? Pinky winked as he brought up her phone.
That's for the win!
An hour later, they were at Crayons, an elegant restaurant in the Westwood district. It was known for its unusual yet striking decor, as well as the top-notch food. But to Pinky, that wasn't why she was here. She instead couldn't take her eyes off the vision of loveliness in front of her. It made it hard for her to drive, to be honest, and as they arrived at the restaurant, she felt she could finally start walking on clouds, given that she was at long last alone with her dearest love. Things went by in a day since they sat down. By the time they had menu in hand, she felt she was going to burst from absolute delight. Pinky, are you okay? Sunset looked at her from across the table, and Pinky couldn't get her mind off of those lustrous eyes, those sweet lips that called to her like ripe cherries, said, Pinky! The continued sighed and gave Sunset a dreamy look.
Oh, nothing at all. Till this day ends, unless Kate said something will be wrong, and that this day will end.
So he gave Sunset another loving look.
Have you decided what you want? I have.
Sunset looked toward the menu. I'm leaning towards the fancy carbonara. You? Pinky continued to gaze at Sunset with hazy eyes.
Oh, I definitely know what I want.
And that is? That's to get through to her.
Oh, you mean the food?
Pinky had the good graces plus The waiter came up and asked, May I take your order? Sunset gave hers, opting for the fancy carbonara, with a side salad, sparkling lime water. Pinky then opened the menu, instead handing over to the waitress.
Cheeseburger,
she said flatly. Anything else?
Surprise me,
she said with surprising curtness. They turned back to Sang with wistful eyes. The waitress, finally getting the clue, giggled slightly, and left the two lovebirds pausing on whispered Sunset. Oh, she's got it bad. You might want to pay attention. Sunset said nothing, instead turned her attention back to the girl before her. So, anything else you want to ask, Pinky?
No, I think we got a lifetime's worth to go through. And hopefully I'll have the lifetime to ask it.
Pinky replied with slight blush.
I mean, we're always gonna be together, all of us, right?
I don't know. Sunset looked at one of the pictures on the wall. An exquisitely rendered image of a beach done in vintage Crayola. Rarities applied to the new school, which is a fashion college in New York. My sister's looking at Harvard, and Tavi's applied to Juilliard. AJ's applied locally. I'm not sure what Flutter's plans are. Don't know what yours are either.
I don't know, Piggy admitted. My parents can't really afford to send me to college, though I can my aunt and uncle. Well, I easily could get a scholarship. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life once I'm out of high school. What about you?
Sunset sighed. Don't know. Miss Celestia says my grades have improved, and knows I could get into something more than community college, if I wanted to. I never really thought that far. I suppose I'll have to take political science so I can understand this world better, and how I fit in, but then again, I don't doubt my mother, my biological one that is, will want me to take a year or two at Royal Carolina University. I'll only see the political studies of my old world will tie into the new one.
Piggy thought the undertones of that. So, you'll be going back?
I'll probably commute back and forth. After all, the portal should be able to allow me to do that. I am the Alicorn of Earth, after all. Can't really afford to leave my position on a regular basis. And I think even my mother knows that. Besides, this is my home now. Even if I never become an Alicorn, I'm more human now than Pony. I guess, although you never really forget where you came from. Since it's thought about, is there anything else you want to do?
I thought I did, once. It's not about being a professional party player, but I think I think it would be a waste of my talents. Uncle Carrot says with all the reading and I am interested in, I should go to museum sciences or like, maybe history. Besides, probably makes more sense for a person like me to do that anyway.
What do you mean? Your counterpart is a baker and party planner, Penny. I don't see why you can't do the same.
See, probably doesn't have the same trust issues I do. But what Raz tells me, she's a bit flighty and vapid. I wish I could be that lucky. But that was stolen from me by people I thought I loved.
She leaned against the table, looked at Sunset as a friend for the moment before looking her eye to eye.
Do you ever wish you could get your innocence back? I mean, not virginity. I mean, innocence. The childlike wonder of the world before you realize everything is smoke and mirrors. And everything you'll learn from that point is just bullshit and Ouija boards.
I'm not sure I ever had it, Sunset said honestly. I was an orphan when my mother took me under her wing. I was a runaway here when Mom did the same. Those aren't the actions of a normal filly. They were quiet for a minute before Sunset got her soup and Pinky asked for a refill on her Coke. They continued, I mean, look at me. I did all this shit because my mother wanted to love me. I may have missed my own life, and it's a wonder I'm still standing. But if I had that choice to take it all away, I wouldn't. Because if I did, I might not have all my family or friends, or those I love. Pinky bit her lip, unsure what to say about that. So no, Pinky. It would be nice to be innocent again. It's not a realistic thing. I can't just look at things like the average equestrian does anymore. It wouldn't behoove me to do so. I don't think you would operate the same way, could you? Pinky chose not to answer that. As the food arrived, she realized she didn't have an answer for it to begin with. He is currently indisposed, madame, the aide suddenly said to her. It doesn't want to be disturbed. Oh, please, Broom, Octavia merrily said to the older pony. This is me we are talking about. That makes it all the more so, Miss Octavia, Broom said with a wry smile. Fancy get in. Then let me attend to this, she told him, please. The pleading in the mare's purple eyes was that of sincerity. A look that the old stallion knew quite for some time, and knew it not to be a natural look of pleading, but instead a weapon. A weapon to be employed by the young mare whenever she had something in her mind. I believe, he said suddenly, I am in need of a cup of tea. Yes, a cup for myself would be quite nice to me. That way I couldn't possibly be blocking the door and telling others that the master's not to be disturbed. She craned her neck and gave the old stallion a kiss on the cheek. Thank you, Brim. I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about, Miss Octavia. He then gave a gleam in the eye. I am merely taking my own refreshment. Perhaps afterwards I'll still bring you a kettle as well. That would be lovely, she said with a smile. I know I may need one shortly. She watched as he walked down the hall, and then went in the opposite direction towards her destination. She found it a few minutes later. The room smelled like soured wine, like nothing had been changed in days. Spitballs were everywhere, and the room was a mess. Somewhere within the pile of ruined clothing, cheap wine, and other bric-a-brac, she found a quarry. Nestled between two mares, snoring as if a demented sleeping beauty, was said quarry. Octavia wasted no time. Walked over to the minibar and found 2 glasses, which had yet to be destroyed or even used. Walking behind the bar, she filled them up with water, and getting on her hind legs, a good thing her career allowed her to be able to walk a short distances bipedally, she splashed water into 2 mares, making them both yank with surprise. Ladies, I'm not even going to ask, she said in an even tone. I'm just going to tell you to get out. The first one, a rather tall unicorn mare that seemed reminiscent of curly-haired fleur-de-lis, stared in her eyes. Who's the back are you? The mare kicking you out, Octavia said, pausing a hoof against her chest. I'll tell you more, but I suspect you weren't brought here for your tenancies. The other mare looked at her as well. Well, he was with me last night. You weren't here, so I guess that makes me more important to you, huh? If you whisper names, I'm fine, Octavia said. I'm still kicking you both out. Now, I'm going to assume you did this for the fame, because prostitution is still illegal in Catalan province, as well as the capital. Both of them looked at her with surprise and anger. You know where the door is. Outside, there are taxis waiting to take you wherever. I'll then put it on my tab to know who I am. Funny, I don't know who you are, the floor of the pair said, and I don't take orders from some high horse to get it. Not looking for you, I'm not some high horse. I am, however, it's a mare who is losing her patience. You really don't want me to lose my patience, because if I do, it's not going to go well for you at all. So we can do this the nice way, or we can do this the not so nice way. And after everything I've been through in the past few months, you really want to go the nice way. The 2 read the forceful look in her eyes, until both came out of bed, heading towards the door. The short one pausing only to grab a risque, revealing savage socks from the ground before falling after the first. Octavia rolled her eyes. She had other things to do. She looked at the bed, sole remaining occupant aside. Why are you torturing yourself like this? She wouldn't want this. She didn't want this. Yet somehow she wasn't even remotely surprised this happened. Leaving the occupant to sleep, she walked over to the curtains and letting some light in, hoping would partially sterilize the room. Opening up the window, she could do the same for the smell, she hoped. A second later, the slumbering man woke. What was that? A drunken voice from within the remaining of the seats and pillows. I came to wake you up. Sorry, going back to bed. You can't. You promised. I can't break my promise. That's my prerogative. No, it's not. Not to me, she said firmly. There was a sigh. Then a muffled grunt of amazement and profanity under breath. Fine. All right. Let me get up and get dressed. She smiled. You know I wouldn't do this if I didn't care. She smiled sweetly as Bruce showed up with tea. The cityscape of Los Angeles spread out in a symphony of stars. Leaning over the edge of the railing, the world-famous observatory, seated atop Mount Hollywood, in the city's Las Vegas Park. Pinky looked down with a look of glee and beauty at the sky below. The parking lot was relatively empty, and though the observatory itself was closed, many people were there, enjoying the beauty of the warm Los Angeles night. It's beautiful, Pinky said softly. You know, sometimes I wish we moved down here. You do? Sunset asked her. Pinky nodded. Back in the early days, Uncle Carrot had an offer to come work for the patisserie down here in L.A. We almost told the Sugar Cube Corner to come live here, but at the last moment he decided it was better to keep going our way. And of course, in the eyes of timeline worked out okay for us. Still part of me that wishes I'd been Angelino. I wonder if it's the same person I am now. The great friend I knew. Pinky blushed at that. You know I wouldn't be. I'd be a vastly different soul. I wouldn't have met the love of my life for starters. She reached over and took Sunset's hand in her own. I wouldn't have suffered, but I suppose I had to become part of what I am now. I don't want you to suffer, Pinky, Sunset said. Do you want me to? No, Pinky said firmly. I know what you're thinking, but no, I don't want you to. They aren't a part of my life any longer. Even though sending out the wolves after them gives them more credits than they deserved. They ruined me, but I'm stronger for it. Sunset hugged her friend. You are, Pinky. You're one of the strongest people I know, and I don't know what I'd do without you. You can't mean that. I'm probably just a pea in your side. No, you're someone who means the world to me, Pinky, and I mean that. Sunset had the girl turn around and blue gaze into Cyan. I mean that more than you can imagine. The two sets of feminine pools gazed into one another, drawn by the moment. Yes! Yes! Let's touch. Yes! They came together briefly, once, twice continuously. And for a moment in time, Pinky felt everything was right in the world, and that truly she was in the city of angels. Now, you see, Evening Sonata? That's how you do a beautiful kiss. That's how you make it gorgeous. Thank you. You did what? Twilight screamed at her sister later. Behind her, very strange survivor, disbelief or facepalming were her cousins. Sunset blushed. Look, I kinda got carried away by the moment, she admitted. I don't like Pinky in that way. You made out with someone you aren't attracted to, Adagio pointed out. Even I don't make those kinds of mistakes, Sonny. I kissed the girl and I liked it, Sonata sang under her breath. And hearing her, both Arya and Octavia snickered. Twilight wheeled on him, glaring. You're not helping. She seethed before turning back to her sister. Sis, I love you, but how can you be that fucking stupid? Twilight asked harshly. Look, it was just a heat of the moment, okay? I didn't mean anything by it, alright? I'll apologize to Pinky in the morning, but I'm not taking that car back. The car? Well, since I explained, Twilight fought the urge to scream. You gave her a car! Well, yes, I get them with Paris. We already have cars at home, and her aunt and uncle can't really afford to get her one, even with their business in. I'll take you aside. Sonny, you said you're actually 30 as a pony, right? Yes, why? How the hell did you manage to fail your teenage years twice? Not funny. I thought it was. Twilight sighed. Look, sis, if you're bi or a lesbian, it's not that we're bothered by that. I'm not! Look, I just got caught up in the heat of the moment. So this doesn't pains me to admit. Replace Pinky with Brad Asshole, and the same thing would have happened. As he pointed out, I'm a teenager again, which means Hormone City, right? For that matter, any of you could have been in my situation. It done the same thing. After all, may I remind you, we all sleep together often? The other girls looked at each other uncomfortably before Arya sighed. Yeah, point taken. But even if it was just a stupid thing, Sonny, I hope you're prepared for what's to come. And to this, you have a girlfriend. Whether you consider it or not, you have a girlfriend. Sunset sighed. Don't remind me, she grumbled. In her bed, Pinky slept on a body pillow, cozy as she could be. The fact that Raspberry didn't know where the teen had come up with it was freaky enough, but the fact that it had photorealistic picture of Sunset and the negligee with a come-here pose really weirded the unicorn out. Pinky held the body pillow closer, cooing Sunset's name in her sleep and giggling girlishly. Yeah, you might want to check that pillow for wet spots. I swear I'm not gonna understand this world, Raspberry muttered as he turned around to try to get some sleep before tomorrow's flight back to Camelot.